Hello, my monstrosities. Hello once again. Today I bring to you a bit of a tourney video. This is going to be a weird one because everything is weird right now. So, the Manchester 40K Super Major is coming up this weekend, and last weekend we had the Cherokee Grand Open. Okay? So, uh, you might think, well, reasonable people would think, yeah, you could look at what happened in one region and see what might happen in another. Except, this region over here, yeah, the US of A over here, we decided to have knights come first and second. Now, if I'm being honest, I've talked about how knights are actually a lot more playable, and I was looking at the history, I guess you could say, of the last like toppings or whatever, and knights have been like very prevalent for the last several months. We're like talking like last 5 6 months. Everybody went to sleep a little bit in December, so they weren't there on that one. But yeah, and knights. It was surprising to some. I I guess it's still surprising, but that's to say, we now have Manchester coming up, and do we think that Knights will do it again? Probably not. If I'm being honest, that's not necessarily to say Knights can't do it. It's to say that we usually don't have the same army win a super major back to back like that, especially in different regions. Doesn't really happen like that, and I think now that people are aware that hey, Knights exist, they might be a little bit more prepared for it. Now, that said, what might win Manchester? What can do it? Now, I typically, well, I'm not going to. Actually, I'll be completely honest. I'm not going to say the army I think that will win it because I don't have one. Be honest, don't have one right now. Mostly because Eldari's book and Astra Militaris book got released and it's playable this weekend. Um, Everybody did that thing that I told you all not to do, into which Death Watch is somehow getting to escape into the night after winning Super Major. And it's just like, okay, how do we keep letting them get away with this? Where we then act like, oh, they just don't do anything. So that's going on. Legion of Excess is running rampant, right? We got a lot of things going on in the meta right now, and I need to see the codexes in action first. I need to see them do things before I make any grand takes. However, I do have a kind of grand take, I guess. We're still looking over all the factions to see like what people are bringing, what to do, the do. And I was surprised by some of the population numbers. Like there's a lot of Tyranid players, and now I like Tyranids, so we'll see. I guess we will see. A lot of Crusher Stampede, if I remember correctly. A lot of course, Invasion Fleet. Right. So there's that. But what's the interesting thing that I have to you today to say? There's an army that's good, does okay, and is completely dropping the ball. Like has all the tools to win everything right now, and is completely dropping the ball. And it pisses me off, right? I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little bit peeved because I keep doing this. I keep warning people about this army. It's like my second Death Watch. Well, this is my OG Death Watch, I guess, because I go, why do we keep automatic like just dropping it randomly? Like it's good, it's good. Um, but if you've heard me talk about my oh the blank are coming several times on this channel, you know what I'm going to say. Unfortunately, and I promised, well, I tried to promise myself that I wasn't going to do it, and then I literally looked up to see if they had access to one thing. And that's where my decision comes from. But thankfully for me, from what I saw in the list of this faction, nobody has the tools to do what they need to do for this. Before I reveal the facts, and sorry to keep it a little bit more vague for a little bit longer, uh, let's go over here. What needs to happen? You need to be able to beat Imperial Knights. You need to be able to beat Eldar. You have to be able to beat um, Legion of Excess Demons. You need to have to beat Astra Militarum. You have to be able to beat the anti-meta things that beat those, such as Death Guard. Okay? And you put all of those factors together, there's only one army I could possibly think of at the moment that has those qualifications. Now here comes the big reveal. I am once again saying it's Custodes time. It's Custodes time. It is Custodes time. And I wasn't going to cop out and say Solar Spearhead, but this is the thing that also bothers me about numbers in general, right? The same way I talk about Necron Starshatter as a Necron second army lover, uh, I the thing that I don't understand about 40k players this particular season is doing a thing repeatedly that's not getting the best results. It's getting good results, don't get me wrong, but it's not getting the best results. I mean, absolutely no disrespect to anybody right now when I say this, but it is truly a talking point that I mean, I don't have to, but I don't understand copying a list that isn't winning almost every tournament that it's being taken to. I don't understand that aspect. I don't understand keeping the exact same ratios of one list over and over, not changing anything about it, and not seeing it top a tournament every weekend. I don't understand that. Like, I don't get it. So, I am going to say it's Solar Spearhead, but not for the reasons that I thought I was going to say. I was actually leaning towards Shield Host, Custodes, when I first was like, yeah, this would be perfect time for them. But there's something about Solar Spearhead. Also, again, I mean, absolutely no disrespect to Folger Piles, because everybody's copying his list. But I don't get it the same way I don't get the Star Shatter Arsenal thing, where it's like there are hundreds of people taking the exact same list, and it's not getting a top every single weekend. I don't get it. So, Solar Spearhead still does fine. It still does okay, right? Still does fine. Still has multiple tops in a weekend, right? Still will be serviceable. But I think if somebody just tweaked the ratios just a little bit, you'll be fucking golden. Now, how has this turned from a Manchester 40k Super Major video into, oh no, the Custodes are coming? You know, I really wish I could tell you, but we will circle back after I get this out because this is the thing, right? So, not only does Solar Spearhead have bodies to match bodies, right? You need something that can take down knights and withstand Eldar. Your infantry can withstand Eldar, can withstand the bullshit out of Astra Militarum, and your vehicles and your regular infantry can go toe to toe with Imperial Knights for the most part. But why Solar Spearhead? What made me change my mind instead of going to the Shield Host route? I wanted to see if you have fights first in this codex. Because that's just like, okay, fights first. That will put Custodes over, right? But more importantly, the thing that we discovered, or my hypothesis, my current working hypothesis of what kills Slanesh, right, is fight on death. And guess what? Detachment for Custodes lets you activate that on any Custodes unit. You're right, Solar Spearhead. Okay? So, with Emperor's Vengeance, during the fight phase, just after an enemy unit has selected its target, one Custodes unit from your army that was selected as target of one or more of the attacking unit's attacks until the end of the phase. Each time a mauling unit is destroyed, if they have not fought this phase, d6 plus 1. If you're a walker, 4 up, fight on death. And there you go, right? Why does that work well into Slanesh? Because they can't afford to not gambit into you, and if they do, sorry, take that back, the other way around. They can't afford to not to gambit into you, basically. If they go into you with fights first to kill you, you take them down swinging, right? If they gambit into you, your Custodes, you're going to pick up the squad. Now, if you were to say, Monster, you're crazy, there's no way that just one stratagem, mind you, right? It is 1 CP. Oh, also, I believe Auric Champions had one for like 2 command points, but like that was like 2 command points, so that was fucking stupid. Um, for 1 CP, that can't be the difference, right? You're correct. Now, this is the other thing that bothers me about Solar Spearhead list currently. That's a lot of walkers. That's a lot of walkers. This is so free. This shit is telling you, hey, take some mounted and infantry for your vehicles. Vehicles take some, or sorry, other way around. Infantry and mounted for your vehicles. Take vehicles for your infantry and mounted. You're supposed to bring both, and the lists are looking really light on one of them. Right? So that's the angry rant for it. But like Solar Spearhead, it has all the tools, and then the Codex further has the tools for this, right? Because we go over here. Guess what? Vigilators? Yeah, they're anti-psyker 5 up, devastating wounds. Yeah, do you know, like, the big demons are typically psychers? But not only that, models in this unit have a feel no pain of a 3 up against psychic attacks and mortal wounds. Cough cough. Devastating wounds. What does Slanesh want to do? Devastating wounds. Death parry, -1 to hit. All good things for counting that. And that's just vigilators that can attach to somebody like Alea. 5 of Feel No Pain, leader, scout 6. Oh no, can't use the scout because we're attached to the vigilators. We'll come back to that. While this model is leading a unit, each time model in a unit makes an attack, +1 to hit if that unit is below starting strength, and +1 to wound if below half. Uh, also has fucking the Feel No Pain 3 up versus Psychic and Mortals. What's important here is the fights first, right? Fights first, fight on death. For a cheap unit. And the Scouts thing, let's talk about that too. So that's Alea. The Witch Seekers have Scout 6. You could attach her to here, right? Do the same Feel No Pain thing. You really don't want to trigger the Battle Shock test. But why would you take a unit that you don't want to trigger the Battle Shock test on for the most part, right? Because they have flamers. You could just be fine with battle shocking or trying to battle shock. Oh no, probably not the demons. And I promise we're going to come back through and do this again for not fucking specifically Slanesh because well that's not the field. We're going to come back and think about this, okay? So that's Witch Seekers, but you want them purely because they have Scout 6 and can attach them to a Knight Centura. Right? Increase the move, same Feel No Pain thing. And here's the thing, right? Right. Each time an enemy unit that is within engagement range of this model's unit falls back, they must take a Desperate Escape test. What does Slanesh Demons do? Fall back and charge. So, guess what? Good luck trying that shit with us. Okay? Okay. So, that's that. But Why is Scout so important, Monster? What are you trying to tell me about Scouts? Rhinos. If your dedicated transport is filled with things with Scout 6, or Scouts, sorry, uh, they can scout. And in a detachment such as Solar Spearhead, your vehicle that has scouted can then go through a wall. And once they're through a wall, they can deploy a string of fighting on death or fights firsting, vigilators, or witch seekers that have a feel no pain of a 3 up versus those mortal wounds that Slanesh wants to do so bad. Or, hey, just -1 to hit. And they can fight on death, which is very important for that matchup. Now, moving past that, I want to talk about the fact that nobody still is doing the thing. Nobody's doing the thing. You notice how I just talked about you could put a rhino through a wall? What if you can put a Venerable Land Raider through a wall and deploy Blade Champion and Wardens? Right? Right. I'm still waiting for this list of Solar Spearhead to do this. Your Venerable Land Raider with -1 to wound. Right? Your Sisters of Silence or your Wardens getting a pile in of D3+3 into any of these situations. So, that's for the most part what we're doing over here with Custodes, or what they could be doing. But here's the other thing. We found out from Imperial Knights that allies are pretty good. And we also found out that Helverins actually have some play. Now, do they have the same amount of play when they don't have a Feel No Pain and a reroll? Probably not. But, for 130 points, I think you can let go of a Venerable Contemptor Dreadnought or two. It's just not that great. These have 12 inches of movement. And guns. Alright? I think if Imperial Knights can bring Helverins, other armies should experiment with that. I'm just saying. If you can bring them, might as well see if it works. And we also saw that the Imperial Knights are bringing Sisters of Battle Immolators, which can remove the benefit of cover, and then you can shoot them with things like Caladius Grav tanks that have gone through walls and get reroll hit rolls and wound rolls of 1. I think you can do that. That's insane, and that can take down the knight portion of our programming, right? Things like that can take down the knight portion. You can let your Telemon, your 1 or 2 Contemptors, your Caladius Grav tanks, uh, Palace Grav tanks, whatever. Uh, da, da, da. Yeah, Grav attacks. Excuse me. Um, basically, let your vehicles shoot the vehicles out of knights. Right, right. Now, uh, Custodes, kinda, the matchup into Death Guard, from what I understand, is very swingy. 50-50. I think it gets easier when, guess what, Death Guard can't really kill big shit. Oh, wait, would you look at that? We're playing Solar Spearhead. And, yeah, yeah. Now, for the Eldar and Astra Militarum side of things, who really knows? Oh, I also wanted to put on to the fact that you can still take Assassins, as we see, still works in Imperial Knights. So yeah, you can still take that ally too. But before, back to what I was going on about. Yeah, it's anybody's guess on what to do with Eldar and Astra Militarum at the time. Now, if it's Bridgehead Strike and the Yanari detachment, the host of Iniad, the chosen of Iniad, of Yanad, whatever, right? The Yanari detachment and Bridgehead Strike, Astra Militarum, probably, I'm guessing. Um, well, we know that we've seen Custodes can definitely get around Bridgehead Strike. We saw that at WCW, right? We saw that one. So, I think the Custodes are kind of safe there. And as far as Eldar, well, the Eldar players are still trying to figure out what they do. But I will say I understand that the movement for Yanari detachment is post shooting phase. If you if you take a melee army, how does that work, right? How does that work? Does that still hold the same power? I don't think so. I would imagine not, but again, we'll see. Now, that's all to say, if anybody changed the fucking list for Solar Spearhead, got a little bit creative with the ratios and shits, you'd be in the perfect spot to counter kinda a lot of this shit. But alas, this has become a video of wishful thinking. But moving past that, right? What is anybody going to do? Who knows? We've seen some experimentation come out with demonic incursion demons because they're like, we're just that good, not just Legion of Excess. As we can see, Custodes do fine enough. Now, mind you, these are early, and this was last week's data, so we still need to see more. So don't take like this like too seriously. Um, this is flipped over with the codex is releasing. So like none of this really is saying anything quite yet. So if you look and you go, oh no, my dearest Black Templars and Drukhari, there's actually a lot of Drukhari players at this, which is kind of funny too. Um, and I'm going to talk about a thing eventually. We'll see when I can talk about it. It's not like NDA or nothing like that. I just need to see like data sheets and shit first before I talk about it. But yeah, I'm just using this to show like the factions pretty much. Shout out Stat Check. Go watch them on YouTube and Facebook and Patreon, I guess. Yeah. So that's to say, Manchester and super majors in general. All right. Okay, maybe let's not get that egregious. All right, that grand, I should say. Um, the current setting would be great if Solar Spearhead Custodes players changed the list. This is wild. The same way I yelled at the Necron players for. Okay, not this anymore. Last week. I could change it, but I'm lazy right now. Like last week or 2 weeks ago, where it was fucking player population view wins view like what Solar Spearhead, I'm yelling at you now. Change the list. You can do it, buddy. I promise it won't hurt that much. Change the ratios. Change the ratios. Um, but yeah, realistically, past that, I don't know. Everything's up in the air. You really have a lot to deal with, and if anything, it sounds like it's going to be the most down to the pairings ass super major we've had in a while. Like down to the no, that's not just because of that army. It is that player plus that army plus the pairings had to get them there, right? Like we might see a Legion of Excess win if they avoid apparently Votan and Custodes. And my heart, that's what they need to avoid. We might see a fly blown host win if they avoid Imperial Knights and a couple others. I'm not going to keep going on this. I'm gonna wrap this up. But yeah, Manchester should be interesting. This will be the first time that we get to see um, the codexes for Eldari and Guard in action, and get some feedback on that. And then Slanesh is coming out this weekend, and the rules should probably be up well, with their current track record. There's a chance that they'll be up in a week or two with within a week or two with the upcoming data slate, maybe a week or three, who knows. Anywho, Manchester should be interesting. Yeah, should be interesting. So yeah, if you like the video, like it, got a comment for me, comment. And until next time, peace out, my monstrosities.